Welcome to the Sharpe Show. Yes, it is a little after 7 p.m. on the East Coast on Friday, and it has been a while. I know it's been a long time since I've been on here live. It's been a bit, and it's been a minute because I have been busy, in case you didn't know. I've been running around trying to get on the ballot here in New York State. It has been a bear. However, looks like we're done, so that's a good thing. So that's one positive thing. So I am now back, and there were many things that were bothering me. Yes, many of them. And I didn't really bring many of them up because I was too busy doing other things. And I took a bit of a break. And a couple weeks ago, I got COVID. So all those different things happened. And so now I'm back trying to make things work to the best of my ability. I hope I can keep this going. But there are two things that are happening in New York State right now that are bothering me tremendously. Guns and weed. Those are the two things. And this is going to be a little bit of I told you so, a little bit, but also a little bit of showing the complete ineptitude that this state and the nation is dealing with both of these issues. We are failing miserably dealing with guns and failing miserably dealing with weed, and there's almost no hope in sight. That's the thing that drives me crazy. The left and the right here, and you're probably on one of those sides, which will make you angry, but you're wrong. Whatever side you're on, you're incorrect here because your team isn't doing a good job. My team would do a good job on both of those issues. Sadly, most people are jumping on one side or the other. And that is the problem, is that we're jumping on one side or the other, and neither side has an answer. They're just mad at the other side. Oh, never seen that before. If you know what I'm going to talk about and you like it, do me a favor, like and comment and share so other people can see this too, because I do want to bring up these things that are important. So before I walk down the road of guns, I want to be clear on something, very clear. We should never be happy or dismissive or take advantage of someone's loss. Unless that specific individual wants you to, right? If they are specifically doing this for a reason, that's different. But unless that individual is specifically trying to make this happen, we should not be taking advantage of other people's loss. That's not the right way of doing things. So I want to be respectful of that. And in addition to, one thing you'll know about me is that I will never retreat when it comes to our rights, even in the wake of something terrible. I don't all of a sudden go, well, now's the time to talk about it. You don't see me do that ever. Ever. It's not who I am. I never have been. Some of you love me because of it. Some of you hate when I do that. I know. But the one thing that you will see me do constantly, to the best of my ability, and I'm not perfect by this in any way, but to the best of my ability, I try to stay true. So at least I'm on brand. And if you don't like it, I can accept you thinking I'm wrong. I can accept you thinking I'm dumb. I can accept either of those two. What I can't accept is you not trusting me, because we can get past me being wrong, because maybe I'm wrong and I can learn something. Maybe you're wrong. You can learn something. Maybe I'm just not educated. Maybe I'm dumb on something. Maybe you have to show me something. It's possible. We can get around that. We can get around you being mad at me because we can talk it out. We can't get around you not trusting me. That's the game. So I hope at least when I say what I'm going to say, it makes sense and we get it, and that it's the same as it's always been. That's an important aspect. That's what I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up Kathy Hochul, and she's talking about what she wants to do to deal with the recent gun violence in New York State, and of course in Texas, Uvalde. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And what she wants to deal with it. And here's a bit of what she brought up the other day, and I want you to hear it, if you would, please.
That seems to revere the rights of gun owners and the ability to possess guns over the right of children to stay alive.
Now, there's a thing that bothers me about this. Not that kids shouldn't stay alive. Of course they should. I have kids too. But what this governor does constantly, is she constantly uses, they have a right. She has a right. They have a right. You can't just say you want something and therefore it's a right. Do I have a right to oranges? I like oranges. Should I have a right to them? No. Should I be able to get them? Yeah, I should. Should I be able to purchase them? Yeah, I should. Everybody who wants oranges should be able to get oranges. It doesn't mean it's a right, because once it's a right, that changes what it is and how we act. And this governor uses that all the time. So all the kids have a right to live forever. I'm not saying they shouldn't. Of course they should. That word matters because she pushes aside the Second Amendment, which is literally a right in our Bill of Rights, literally called the Bill of Rights, versus everything else. This is not healthy. It's not good. It makes things bad. We have to stop it.
Or to go to a school without fear of having to.
So now it's a right to go to a school without fear. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that it's not black and white here, right? It's not that, well, so Larry, you want kids to go to school scared. No, but it's their right. Well, that changes everything, doesn't it?
Or run. That also has a long-term effect on the psyche of the children, not just to experience that.
She's right.
But our children all across this nation, whose parents hugged them a little bit tighter this morning as they packed them off to school with the hope that they will see them at the end of the day.
Now she's right here. To be forward with you, she's right. Absolutely correct. This is a bad thing. But this is the reason why children are killing other children and themselves, right? This flows right into it. The fact that kids feel like garbage coming out of school, which is what these two murderers were, kids who felt like garbage coming out of school, shows how our society and how our school is failing. That's what it shows. That's the hard piece that she won't accept.
The children of today have been through so much.
Yep, true.
They don't deserve that.
Also true.
They're innocent.
Deserve is, I will give her this, 100% true. And this is why so many people will still stand behind her, because what she's saying is true. They don't deserve it. She's right.
They look to adults to be responsible.
Yep.
They look to us to protect them.
Yes. And which you have said, you have personally said more than once, it is your number one job. Wow, you are bad at that. If that's your number one job, you really should quit, because you're really bad at that. You've said it. Your number one job. You are bad at that. So protecting them doesn't mean just making sure a gunman doesn't shoot them. Don't do that, obviously. But it also means everything else you're doing. You're breaking our children. That's why they're doing this.
And they have the right to be protected by the adults
the right,
who govern
again,
this country.
The right.
Whether it's in Congress, whether there has been too long an abdication of responsibility, and if we couldn't get background checks after Sandy Hook, the slaughter of first graders.
So let's be clear. The guy who shot everybody up in Buffalo, he had background checks, didn't he? The cops already interviewed him, didn't they? The system actually worked. What you wanted actually happened, because we have that in New York State. Now, she's talking nationally. In certain areas, we don't. That's true. In certain areas of the state, of the country, you don't. In New York, we do. Yeah, he still did it. So you already have what you said. So you're just using talking points now.
Simply saying, can people have one more requirement before they can walk in and purchase a gun, that we finally find out of what they're talking about on social media, what their neighbors have observed,
yes,
what record they may have.
Which we did.
We can't even afford that background before someone can acquire this weapon.
This is literally things she's making up right now. This actually happens in New York State all the time. I don't know anyone in New York State, maybe you do, who has purchased a gun legally who has not gone through a background check. In fact, the last guys who shot places up, they actually were already investigated, and the cops already spoke to them already, because people said what she told them to say. This already had everything she's saying now. which is just to get people to feel good and go, oh, she cares about us. That's what this is being done for, is already happening in New York State. Already happening.
Just weapons. Because we're doing what we can here in the state of New York.
Yeah, I just said, see, now she's just come clean. See, we're doing it all in New York. Yeah. Yes. Yet we still had a shooting in Manhattan. Oh, is it Brooklyn? Ooh, I think it's Manhattan, right? The subway shooter. We had that person who shot 11 people. And then we had the kid who shot the 10 people in Buffalo. So we are doing it, aren't we?
Laws that we're proud of, and although I'll be talking about ways we want to enhance them.
Oh, going to enhance the laws.
But as long as the illegal guns are out there somewhere,
yep,
they find their ways to the streets of New York.
Now, hear what she said. But as long as the illegal guns are out there, the guns that were purchased in the last 2 shootings were legal guns. They weren't illegal. Everything she said so far is absolute bullshit. Total lies, means nothing. But she sits here and there's not one, and I mean not one reporter who will say, wow, Governor, you are completely full of shit. There's not one. Where are they? They're going, oh, so good, you're the best. Everything she said has been garbage so far. But she sits there and pretends like she cares so much. They were legally purchased. That's her whole point. So why are we saying this? Because I want to pander and I want to do stupid stuff because I don't have an answer. Because I don't want to fix the deep problems that this state has with its youth. Because she doesn't want to fix the deep problems that this state has with its youth. She doesn't want to do that because that's really hard. And she's incompetent. So she couldn't, even if she wanted, she couldn't do it.
As well. That is why we stood up not just this intrastate task force, where we share information within our boundaries, which is why I said, no, these guns are coming from other states. Let's get them at the table.
Yeah, so you've had the intrastate thing set up, and what happened? Oh, wait, nothing. You spent tons of money and time and harassed more New Yorkers, and we have the same thing.
So we have had a number of successes.
Name one.
We have more work to do, and I'll talk about some of our successes.
No, you have no successes. That's a lie.
Just this morning, as we're all reeling with the pain, I'm asking myself as governor.
Yeah. What are you asking yourself?
Am I supposed to just leave all the flags at half-mast?
Do you know how angry I am about this? You're saying, Larry, you're a jerk. She's crying. You're a jerk, Larry. No, I'm not. She thinks putting the flags at half-mast means anything. Your kid's dead. Your uncle is dead. Your grandma's dead. Do you give a crap if the flag's at half-mast? This is exact virtual signaling garbage that people in the state love. I get it. People love it. It's a nice symbol. It is a symbol, and symbols are good. They are. I don't want to take away the symbol. But she believes she's done something by giving an order for half. What about what about the kid who died of cancer? Does he get a flag at half-mast? How about the people who died of traffic accidents, of drug overdose? Do they get half-mast flags too? And if they do, who cares? You're not wonderful because you did that. It's silly virtue signaling, and the fault is yours for locking these kids down for 2 years. These are the last 2 years, the years when we lose our kids. We lost them, and they shot people up, and you sat back and laughed about it. So take your flag, and you know where you can shove it.
They're still at half-mast from Buffalo.
Yeah, changed everything. So let's do that.
No, I don't want to.
Good.
So
do something of value then. Do that.
We talked about what we can do. We work with our legislative leaders, how we protect people.
Yeah.
Because right now we are 500 feet from a preschool.
Yeah.
We're 1,000 feet from Columbia High School.
Okay.
To protect everyone in the state, we convened an emergency meeting this morning.
To protect, just think about the insanity of that. She says to protect everyone in the state. Remember, that's what she's saying. To protect, how? Who are you protecting? I see friends and family of mine leaving like there's no tomorrow. We're dying of everything else known to man. We're dying of diabetes and cancer. Who are you protecting?
state police.
You're bad at this.
And I said, are we doing everything possible? And I said, I want state police patrols.
Oh, because that'll work.
Visiting our schools,
That'll
doing
work.
daily check-ins every single day from today till the end of the school year.
See, if we just had cops do check-ins every day from now to the end of the school year, now the kids won't be shot anymore. Does anyone actually believe that? Is every single thing she does just show? That's just show?
Because I want parents who have enough to worry about in their daily lives, the cost of gas at the pump, the
Your
cost of
fault.
the groceries,
Your fault.
maybe putting aside a little money for college tuition.
Your fault. So it's supposed to be free. Cuomo told us that we are free college in New York State, and you told us that too. That was a lie. So there's no free college. Your fault. High inflation. Your fault. So just, well, don't worry. I know you can't afford to eat or drive your car. We'll send a cop to walk by your school every 6 hours. It'll be fine.
They have enough to worry about. Let them know that the state police and their local law enforcement are going to be there to protect them, both uniformed and plainclothes officers. But let's talk about getting these weapons off our streets.
Yeah, let's do that. Because that's the problem, is weapons off our streets. That's the problem.
I'm proud of the
Tell me all
work
the
our
successes.
interstate task force has already done to date.
Whoa, look what our interstate task force has done to date. Okay, good. Tell me.
As a result of this intentional, aggressive approach, we are now seizing more than 60% more guns per month than we had in the past.
So let me ask you that. Aggressive approach, seizing guns. Where do you think those guns got seized from? What would you guess if you had to guess? Yeah, the cities of like Buffalo, Rochester, New York, that's where they got seized, right? That's where they got seized. Syracuse, they got seized. What do you think the type of person who they seized the guns from? Rich white guys? No. From poor brown and black people. These are Democrats. I thought Democrats care about poor brown and black people, but they're now aggressively harassing them. Well, what could go wrong there?
That is a good dynamic.
That's a bad dynamic.
Although
No.
it'd be nice to get to a point where we don't have the guns to seize, but at least
Yeah, maybe if people didn't want guns because of the black market you created with 2 years of lockdowns and not letting people work, making sure people had to actually go into the black market to get paid so they could get their government checks. Maybe if you didn't create that black market throughout the entire country, specifically in New York State, maybe they wouldn't need those guns because they could have regular jobs where they could call cops and use courts. But they can't anymore. And you haven't fixed that at all. So maybe if you change that, they wouldn't be in need for guns. But no, let's just go beat up brown and black kids.
for
Makes
getting
sense.
them out of the hands of people who would do harm with them. We have over 513 firearms seized by the state police.
513. Now that, in her eyes, is a success. Now, so you pulled 513 guns off the streets, which means you've basically put 513 black kids in jail. Okay, I guess that's good. You like that stuff. Good for you. And we still had Buffalo. Huh. So you put the brown and black kids in jail, and then the white guy came over and shot more black people. This is going swimmingly.
Statewide, if you combine New York City and us, New York City 2,000.
New York City pulled 2,000 guns off. So New York City, which is less than half the population, got 4 times the guns. There were 2,000 guns that got off the cities in New York City. 2,000 more black and brown kids put in jail. Win-win, I guess, right?
Across elsewhere in the state.
These are wins in her eyes.
1,500. That's over 4,105
Black kids in
firearms
jail.
seized.
Black kids in
Just
jail.
recently.
Oh, brown too. Black and brown kids in jail. A couple white
We
kids.
also took action against the ghost guns as they're
Those ghost guns. I mean, think of all of the mass shootings that were done by ghost guns. Carry the 2. 0. None. None of them. 0. This is about mass shootings and guns off streets. Ghost guns. 0. None. But you, boy, just so you got the invisible guns off the street and you put black kids in jail. This is awesome.
more properly called privately made firearms.
Oh my God, those are the
And
worst
as
of
we
all of them.
Finally now have banned them. I was proud to sign a law to make them illegal here in the state of New York.
Solved
We are
everything.
now seizing many of these guns as well.
How
We
many?
seized over 348 total statewide.
340 of these guns went away. See? And we still have Buffalo.
55 by our state police alone.
And we still have people dying every day. And we still have violence. And we still have this. But you're getting, I guess, the guns off the street, I guess.
And the number of those guns, they're just flowing in from Pennsylvania.
See?
And that is why our
It's you Pennsylvania people. See? We got to build a wall from New York to Pennsylvania, and then we're good. That's the problem. That's our next step. Build that wall. That's our next step. Build a wall, Pennsylvania and New York. That's the problem. Is everybody in Pennsylvania is coming over to shoot New Yorkers and give them guns. See? She understands. Damn Pennsylvanians. It's your fault. We have the perfect laws in New York. It's because Pennsylvania, those Amish people come start selling guns, and then they're running guns, and then that's it. And they probably got the ghost guns. See, that's the problem. The Amish are making, Pennsylvania Amish are making ghost guns and send them over. That's the problem. Let's build that wall.
Gun Interdiction Task Force is finding ways to stop them at the borders.
Task Force.
Finding ways to identify what's going on at the gun shows where they're so readily available out of state. And we started over 300 gun tracing investigations, forwarding 55 leads to 22 states. That is the cooperation I wanted when I stood this up a few months ago.
That was the issue. We can investigate once people are shot where the gun came from, because that'll solve it.
Pushing legislation. I announced
because see how this works. You guys don't know this. If you figure out where the gun comes from, you then go arrest that guy, and then no more guns can ever come in because they won't get another guy to sell them guns. That is kind of how it works, isn't it?
The bill that we need even more help on the information sharing piece.
Information sharing.
It sounds
okay. It's whack-a-mole.
Dry,
okay?
But sounds people always say after there's been a crime,
right?
Even after 9/11, you got to connect the dots. You have to see who knew what when.
Because this is 9/11 now? It's fine. Okay.
Did they share it? Why didn't they share it?
They did. The kid who shot up Buffalo, the cops already talked to him. They did share it. The friends told everybody. He had some issues. The guy was walking around with like chemical warfare gear. They did share all the information that you're talking about actually happened.
Is there a barrier to them sharing it?
No.
Well, I don't have any patience for barriers, my friends.
You don't have patience at all.
Patient. I'm saying break down the barriers, share the information, and I want a law change that requires all New York State law enforcement agencies to report the recovery of any gun to our state agencies.
So we're going to report the recovery of any gun to our state agencies. This is a critical, because she's not patient, so she got to make this happen. Let me ask you a question. So after the shooter goes out and shoots a bunch of people and you get his gun, you're not going to report that gun to the state. How'd that stop people from being shot? Yeah, it didn't. This law means nothing. I'm going to now require them to tell the people that we got a gun. Okay, that's not a bad law. It's fine. You got to report. Fine. Okay. How did that stop someone from being shot? It didn't. Does it make it easier to catch the guy? It does. But here's the most important thing that no one seems to get, that I've been saying for 5 years, screaming. The vast majority of these mass killings are actually public suicides. These guys know they're going to die or accept death. Even a Buffalo kid put the gun to his chin to fire. The cops stopped him. He was going to blow his brains out. The cops stopped him. I'm not mad at the cops for this. The cops should have done that. The cops were trying. They didn't know if this was going to, they wanted to be able to investigate in case this was, a group of people or some kind of cult or something. The cops doing the right thing in this regard. I get why they did it. But he was trying to kill himself. How do you outlaw suicide? You can't. Now, the Republicans are stupid. The Republicans are like, we got to have tougher laws, death penalty. They're committing suicide. You cannot outlaw suicide. I mean, you can, but it's useless. If the person wants to kill themselves, they will. You can pass every law you want. You can make it illegal. You can make it double super secret illegal. They'll still do it. It doesn't matter. The piece we have to work on is, why do these kids want to commit suicide? And why do they think the best way is going out in a blaze of glory? This is the issue no one talks about. You talk about, well, we got to make sure that we share guns that we find. What a colossal waste of time and money and energy. Who cares? The kid's dead already or he's in jail. So now we'll share the gun that he used to kill 10 people? He's either dead or already in custody. Who gets away? The guy, the New York Subway guy turned himself in. The cops didn't find him. He called him and said, I'm right here. I'm at the Starbucks. Come get me. I'm not joking. That's what happened. They turned themselves in. I got to find a better gun? It's stupidity.
Police clearing house within 24 hours.
Oh, that'll stop it. Now we'll be able to know where he got the gun in 24 hours after he killed 10 people.
Submit the information to the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network and see if it's been used in past crimes.
Does she even hear us up talking? Let's see if this gun's been used in past crimes. Let's say it has. So, the people that were shot by that gun are also still dead. My loved one doesn't come back because you found it or made it a ghost gun or whatever you did with it. This doesn't help the problem. This is doing stuff to do stuff. That's all it is.
That'll help our efforts.
No, it
We
won't.
also,
What
as I
efforts?
mentioned the other day, want to build change, so we require micro-stamping
Micro-stamping.
on all semi-automatic pistols.
Well, there
What
we
does that
go.
do?
What does it do? Tell me.
creates a fingerprint on the
Okay.
bullets. An
Gotcha.
incredible tool to help our law enforcement.
Yeah. Okay. It creates fingerprints on bullets, an incredible tool to help our law enforcement. Do what? Catch the guy who shot him? He's right there. He's right there. All of these mass shooters, you caught all of them. Please tell me if I'm crazy here. She's talking about ways of finding shooters. They're right there. They don't run away. And if they do, they turn themselves in. Literally, if they run away, they turn themselves in, or they shoot themselves, or they surrender. Every time. So why does any of this matter? It doesn't. This is more stuff to do stuff. It saves nobody. It helps nobody. It just makes a stronger police state in New York State, and the rest of the country will follow this. We are using these tragedies of these dead people and dead children to build out a police state that we will never come back from. This is what's happening.
Share information when they identify bullets, guns that have been used in other crimes. And again, the other gun loophole I mentioned, where we had
That's a gun loophole.
any other weapons. The manufacturers and the criminals are very clever. They're trying to evade our state laws, but I want to make sure that's done.
Wait a minute. So the criminals avoid state law? What? Did you hear what she just said? I wonder if anyone actually hears her speak. These criminals, they're avoiding our state law. Yeah, it's because they're criminals. That by default is the thing. Yes.
As well. But I have a question to ask.
Oh my God, this is brilliant, I'm sure. How smart is it?
How does an 18-year-old purchase an AR-15 in the state of New York, state of Texas?
Just walks in and buys one? This is not really this is not a hard question. He went in there and then he gave cash and then took it. He was already red flagged. Your system failed. He was already red flagged. The cops had already spoken to him. He already had his little psyche eval. And he still went and got it. So all your laws, they didn't work, did they? So now we're going to make ghost guns or bullet fingerprints or whatever other stupidity? That's what happened.
That person's not old enough to buy a legal drink.
Should be, though. Yeah, that didn't work, did it? Yeah. Should be, though. He can go kill people in Afghanistan for you, though. That he can do. He can go get his legs blown off in Iraq. That he can do. He can do that. But don't let him drink.
I want to work with the legislature to change that.
Okay.
I want it to be 21.
You know, I'm gonna try to be good on this. Of all of the things she said, the only one that may have helped is that one. It's possible. I don't know that, but at least there's one thing she said. Of all the minutes she's thrown in the garbage and all the time of my life is wasted watching this garbage, at least that one might have worked. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? The issue I would say is While it might have worked, maybe he would have waited 3 years before he shot people. Perhaps it might have delayed 3 years before he shot someone. Possible. Or he would have just got the guns illegally, or he would have used something else, like the Boston bomber or the Oklahoma City bomber. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But at least something.
It's common sense.
It's not common
because
sense.
As we've just seen from the two horrific crimes that we can't get out of our minds, what happened in Buffalo, what happened in a school, children in Texas.
Yeah.
The common denominator?
Yeah. Common denominator.
There are 3.
There's 3 common. Now, she figured this on her own. She's thinking, right? So she figured this out on her own. This is her thinking. 3 common denominators. Tell me.
The weapon was an AR-15.
Okay, gotcha.
The perpetrator was a male.
True.
And the age of the perpetrator was 18.
That's true. She's right. Not too shabby. So let's also go then to the other people who were mass shooters. And what else is common in all of them? Male part, she's right. That's true. But there are 2 things that were not the same. These different types of weapons. Some use handguns, some use shotguns, some use AR-15s. Yep, all different weapons. The guy in New York City in a subway used a handgun to shoot 11 people. So that worked too. But that's okay. No worries. No worries. But the other thing you don't mention, they're unhappy. They have some type of psychotropic drug prescription. And they don't have a girlfriend. Yeah. They have no relationships. They're on some form of medication because they have some kind of mental issue. They're unhappy and they're lonely. They're broken men. Broken men who have nothing to lose are the most dangerous things on the planet. And you're creating more of them. I'm trying to stop that. I don't want broken men, which is why all of my policies talking about not having broken men, broken fathers, broken sons, people who are lost. This is the problem. This is why they have mental issues. This is why they have addiction issues, because they're broken. You're not helping. You're just punishing them, making things worse.
I don't want 18-year-olds to have guns.
I don't want 18-year-olds to be broken and want to kill themselves.
At least
I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I don't want 18-year-olds to feel like there's no hope. I don't want 18-year-olds to think that the right answer is committing suicide and murdering their friends and family. Well, their associates, can't say friends. Their associates on the way out. I would like that.
Not in the state of New York.
Not anywhere.
So,
not anywhere.
I'm happy to share our information about our work. We're going to continue focusing on this. There are just days left in the session, but I know, and I just had a meeting with the members of the Brooklyn delegation, there is a strong commitment. Our legislators want to work with me as the governor of the state to say, we can do more.
Yeah, we can do more and make things even worse. This is embarrassing. Let me tell you some other things that I have. I wrote some of these things down. They also want to have a license to purchase a semi-automatic weapon now. So now it's a license. Because I guess that will work. I don't know. The kid could have a license too. That wouldn't help, right? They also want to reinforce red flag laws. The red flag laws are already here in New York State. They already worked, but they didn't work at all. They also created domestic terrorism. That's the new thing they got, domestic terrorism, where they can now check all your details of everything behind you and spy on you now, because that'll work. Now, you might go, but Larry, isn't that good for them to spy on you in case, you're doing some bad stuff online? People saw the bad stuff online for the Buffalo shooter, and they told the cops. It already happened without the domestic terrorism law. It already happened. The cops took it, didn't find anything wrong. He passed his psych eval, and he murdered 10 people. So what difference would the terrorist thing do? Nothing. It already worked. I've already said this 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it. In New York City, a place where actual terrorism does happen and has happened, we don't have a red flag law for terrorism. We don't. You don't have to report anything. There's no law. What happens? We report all the time. If you see something, say something. Everywhere around in New York City, if any of you either live here or visited, you know that to be true. And what do? We do say things, and we actually stop crimes. That actually happens in New York City. People say things, Cops go, oh, there's a bad guy, and they stop him. That actually happens in New York City. Isn't it crazy? No requirement for a law. The law she wants to make, again, is simply increasing a police state, make it stronger in New York State, and solving nothing. What she wanted to happen already happened. What she's also not telling you, it's two more things she was trying to do. Now, unless you're in law enforcement, you can't purchase body armor in New York State. So now you can't defend yourself at all in my state. At all. They're going to make every gun you have illegal. They did it already with the SAFE Act. So they make all the new ones now. They'll all be illegal. Like Canada's doing. They're going to copy Canada. Make all the guns illegal. Then you can't have a gun. You can't have a gun any place in any public area. And you can't wear body armor. So who will have body armor? Cops who won't do anything when stuff happens. You saw that already. Or the guys who in other states who buy the body armor and come in to kill you. So they'll have body armor on, but you won't. And that's her plan. That's part of the deal, is no body armor. Because you don't want to be able to buy body armor in New York State. What? That's the new rules. They're also considering punishing parents. That's the other rule she's considering too. Yes. Because what could go wrong with that? Nothing but good, right? That's nothing but good. That's what's happening in my state. And what I would ask is, what is the most important common denominator of all these shooters? It isn't what firearm they had, whether they had body armor or not, whether they went to a school or a hospital or a church or wherever they went, or a supermarket. That's the common denominator. The common denominator is they were unhappy, broken young men. Yes, that's the common piece. And that is not easy to fix at all. That's really hard. That's a cultural issue. That's a government issue. That's an opportunity issue. That's a lot of stuff to fix. That's deep-rooted stuff. It is. And if there's going to be a government to change an environment, let it do that. Let it assist in changing the environment to where I don't have broken men every place. Everything she's doing, everything she's saying is going to make more paranoid, broken men. Every single time. It will make more paranoid, broken men who will find more ways to create havoc. They will do it because they're broken men with nothing to lose. This is not a healthy environment. This is not the way the world's supposed to be. A lot of you guys laugh at me. Larry was talking about happiness. Yeah, happy people don't shoot other people. That's not how it works. It literally is that simple. If you're happy with purpose and you got something to do, will you go do the thing that you care about and you do it in a happy way and you don't go shoot people? This is not rocket science. It isn't. That's how you have to work through things. That's what I keep talking about. Let me give you an example that comes with the next piece on how we're going to make things worse. Already, it goes right into my next piece. Weed. In fact, you know what? Before I go into weed, I'm going to go into weed. Let me grab some of your comments. Got a lot of comments. I'm going to grab some of your comments, and then I'll go into weed because they're actually related, believe it or not. They're actually related. And of course, guys, if you like what I'm saying, please like, comment, and share. It does matter. It really does matter. If you want people to see what I'm doing, if you want me to hear what I'm talking about, please like, comment, and share. It does matter. And of course, please support my sponsor of the show, libertarians.com. I've not been on very much, so I haven't been able to push them. So let me push them. Every episode I do is supported by them in some way, shape, or form. It's libertarianism.com. Their courses are great. They're free. You get rewards. You can get merch for learning stuff. Take their courses in ethics, history, philosophy, all of those things. You can enjoy it. About 30 minutes. You can get some cool merch. It's stylish. It's cool swag. It's got cool stuff on it. You can see it. Libertarianism.com. Click that specific link if you don't mind. Shipping is cheap if you just want to ship it. Or you can buy it if you like. You get educated. You can start winning debates now if you want to. It'd be great. Take the courses. And again, of course, all free. It's libertarianism.com. Enroll. Make my sponsors happy. I would appreciate it. If you want to support me and see my cool shirt I have, which is a cool shirt right here, head over to LarrySharpe.com/shop. You can pick up a cool Larry Sharpe governor shirt if you like. And if you want to support me directly, LarrySharpe.com/donate. So let me grab a couple comments if I could here. All righty. Let's see here. Running Bear said, the older I get, the more I'm against people having children. This world freaking sucks. I feel you, but I don't want to surrender. I already have 2. So, yeah, I already have 2. Andrew says, is she going to ban knives, baseball bats next, or put a mandate on them next? She just wants common sense bat control. Okay, Andrew? Common sense. That's all. Just common sense bat control. No worries. It's all good. So, yes. Danny says, one of my faves, BS, is the micro stamping. I know. So, okay, you find the gun, so I know that gun came. So? You already got the guy. Who cares? Absolutely. Matthew says 18-year-olds still drink. I know, Matthew, they do. It's 100% true. Yes, absolutely. Morgan says, or you can't smoke a cigarette either if you're in New York. Absolutely. But you can go over and shoot people and be killed. That you can do. Yes. Scott says the age for drinking alcohol should be 26 years old because 25-year-old is the last year the human brain continues to develop. You know what? If you were to actually, argue that, maybe that could make some sense, perhaps. I don't know. I'm okay with a logical argument, at least. Maybe you decide that we shouldn't be adults till 25 or something, right? I'm okay with the conversation. Maybe there's something to this. But I can't just go, well, because the guys who shot someone are 18, let's go 21. So what happens when the guy who shoots someone is 21? Do we go 23? And when a guy is 23, we go 25? Right? Her logic is wrong. Perhaps you have a point. I'm happy to have the conversation. But she's not thinking this. She's not like, you know what? The logic. She's not thinking that. She's like, they were 18. Let's make that illegal. 21. That'll change it. Well, some of the other guys were in their 20s or actually in their 40s. So what happens with them? It makes no sense. So, yes. Let's see here. John says she's going to mandate that all children must have bubbles placed around them until they're 25 or join the military at 18. Well, we have to protect them all, don't we, John? Of course. Protect them all. Matt says ban males. Well, Matt, I mean, like 90s, was it 98 or something like that? 98% of the prison population is males. So if you ban males, I mean, that would cut crime. That's true. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. Alan says, I love the way you dissect this hot mess. We need to see more things like tennis, more things like, I think this, about not just about New York, but also across the country. Yes, I'm trying to show people the BS that she's saying, right? I want you to understand. I get that it sounds nice. I do, and it does, right? She talks from the, like she cares. She doesn't care. But some people actually care. She doesn't. Some do. She does not. So she talks like she cares. So people buy it because she'll do her fake tears, whatever. She doesn't actually care. She doesn't. So yes. Running Bear says, Biden just said we should do it with 9mm pistols. He said it causes too much lung damage. I heard that one. Yes. I S you not. He literally said it. He did. I remember he said it blows the lung out or something. We should have 9mm pistols. If you make 9mm pistols illegal across America, if that's actually what he does, I mean, I can't imagine that, but if he does, I mean, the amount of criminals that would be overnight in America would be 100 million. I have no idea what the number would be. By the way, if you live in New York State and you are a gun owner and you don't vote for me in November, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Let me say it again. If you are a gun owner in New York State and you don't vote for me in November, when they come and take your gun, you deserve it. I said, right to your face. Republicans aren't helping you. Democrats aren't helping you. Neither they aren't helping you. There's only one party that actually cares about your gun rights. Only one. Libertarian Party. There is no other party that cares about your gun rights. They're all lying to you, or Democrats are being honest at least. You know what? I'm going to give Democrats that. They're being honest. They're saying we're coming for your guns. You don't deserve guns. At least they're being honest. Republicans are lying to you. I don't know what you're thinking. If you're a gun owner in New York State and you don't vote for me in November, I don't know. I guess you don't like your guns. In that case, just give them up. Just sell them. Get rid of them then. If you don't want them, I mean, look, it's not a requirement. It's a right. If you hate your guns, give them away or sell them or something. It's fine. Throw them in the river, whatever. It's fine. Yes. Brian says, I must have missed the part that says shall not be in France after 21. Yeah, see, that there was an erasure. You missed that part. It does say until after 21. It says that. It does. Until 21. It does say that. That's like Second Amendment Part 3. You didn't see that part. It's there. It's there. Obviously teasing you, yes. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. The DJL7 says, we imprison more people per population than China and lead the world with this crap. Yes, absolutely. And he continues, we need to do a better job with all of our institutions. Yes, and yes, right? DJ Elf, I got to tell you, I hate the fact that we don't trust our institutions. Don't get me wrong. They have given us a reason to not trust them. But I wish they didn't. I wish we did trust our institutions. It's healthy for society to believe in and trust your institutions. College and the FBI, we should trust them, but it's bad. You're right. It's not working. They've given us so many reasons to not trust them. The only way these institutions can gain our trust again is through two things: transparency and time. They must be grossly transparent. And even then, we still won't trust them up front. It'll take years of insane transparency before we go, all right, you know what? I trust you again, because they've broken us. You are right. He continues, leaving people to be in poverty to corruption and bureaucratic BS. Yes, and yes. 100% yes. Absolutely. So, all right. Let's see if I can go here. Andrew says she's the acting governor. No one elected her. But yes. Chip says, thank you for taking her lies down. Nobody else will. They won't. Excuse me. When I get interviewed, people hammer me for details. But when she says something, they go, okay, we accept it as true. Yes. All righty. Odyssey says, increases people's paranoia, makes issues worse. Yes. Another thing. Yes, absolutely. Great point. Dottie says, perhaps if more 15 and 16-year-olds were empowered by owning firearms, 8-year-olds wouldn't be so depressed. I don't know. Everyone talks about Wild West, but an armed society is a civil society. Well, here's another issue, Dottie. Statistically, legal gun owners commit less crimes. That's a data point that's true. And if you have to have some kind of training as a 15, 16, 17-year-old to have a firearm, which I'm not against at all, that's not a bad thing at all, particularly if you're a youth. Nope, I'm not against that concept. That's a good concept. You find that people who begin to train with firearms respect them more. They're not as afraid of them, and they know the power of them, right? When I was in the Marine Corps, I worked in the armory. I've seen and dealt with weapons that are very powerful. So I have respect for firearms, right? And I haven't, I don't deal with firearms daily at all. But whenever I deal with a firearm, people who know firearms know that I know firearms by how I react and deal with firearms, right? So you're totally correct. The more people get training, the more respect they get from it. And they realize, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? 100%. Yes. So, Michael Voss says, micro-stamping protects no one. Correct. It's an after-the-fact law. Ooh, so good. I'm going to steal that. It's an after-the-fact law. Just like safe lockers is about crushing Second and Fourth Amendment. I'm pissed. This is emotional coercion. 100% correct. He's 100% correct. Yes, exactly right. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Morgan says, I heard there was a law that you have to have a glove and ball if you have a baseball bat in your car in New York. I wouldn't doubt something like that. That's funny. That's funny. Michelle says, Jay says, hey, Jay, how you doing? I want to say hi back to Jay, of course. Absolutely. Yes. All righty. Paul says, New York is the least free state in the country. 50 for 50 for the entire 21st century so far. We are the worst. Paul, you are correct. We are the worst. Yes, absolutely. It's terrible. 100%. All right. Let's see here. I want to go, if I could. Well, let me describe this real fast. Tim says, virtual signaling for votes. Yes. Correct. That's what it is, Tim. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, absolutely. Danny says, Larry is definitely the only legit Pro 2A candidate for governor. Yes, and yes. Absolutely. Yes. Liberty Revolution says, hold on. Will you require teachers in New York to be armed and trained as part of their job duties? No. Let's be clear. The Second Amendment is not a requirement. It is a right. So I will not require people who don't want to have firearms to have firearms. If you don't want a gun, you should not have one. What I will say is if you are a teacher or an administrator and you want to, meaning you get a license and you want to carry, you may. And that's actually better. If the thing to remember, all of these suicides are planned. The guy who went to Buffalo, he stalked that place 3 times to make sure he knew exactly when and who and where. They're all planned. They are planned suicides. What they are. They planned them. So if you don't know who's armed, that becomes a hard target. So I want teachers, if you want to have a firearm, you may. But no, I never want to require people to have firearms. Some people don't like them. Some people are afraid of them. All good. You do you. Just don't stop someone else if they want to. So no requirements. Absolutely not. If you want to, 100% yes. But absolutely no requirements. No, absolutely. So Dave says, so cops shouldn't be allowed to use 9mm handguns because they're too deadly. Oh, look at that. If we're going to get rid of the 9mm, I guess cops can't have it either. There we go. That's exactly, so no one gets them now, I guess. Is that right? So let me move on, if I could, for a second, to weed. You might say, Larry, how is that in any way related? Because it's another I told you so. I told you 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, and I got the receipts 4 years ago in certain cases, that if we don't fix our youth, we are going to see more violence just like this. And that when the lockdowns begin, at the end of the lockdowns, all we're going to see is a bunch of unhappy kids, violence, suicide, and violence. And that's what we're seeing. Just what I said, that was going to happen. I also said when we decided that we're going to legalize cannabis, I always said regulate like onions. I meant any form of vegetation, any form of plant. I didn't care which one. Any vegetable you pick. But I said onions because when I was asked that question, I happen to be in Western New York where we happen to grow onions. So that's why I said onions. But I don't care. Carrots, peas, you pick apples. I don't care. Like a plant, like a fruit, like a vegetable, whatever. I don't care. Regular like that. Why? Because one of my jokes I said, but I meant was, if you like your dealer, you can keep your dealer. And you might, that's being funny. No, because the weed dealer is very often a young man. Not always, but very often a young man who often has other issues and is trying to make extra cash, and they're becoming entrepreneurial and they're selling weed. That's a very common thing. Not all, obviously, but many are in that regard. It's not the very wealthy kid or guy or gal in certain cases who is out there selling weed. That's not a thing. Very often people sell weed when they don't have other options. Also a thing too. They either have other problems in their life, or maybe they have a felony or whatever, don't have an education. It's a very common thing also, right? It's a way of people getting ahead. I focus on New York State in 3 things. 1 goal and 3 ways to get there. Goal is stopping New Yorkers from leaving. Have to make them happier so they'll stay in New York. 3 issues: affordability, safety, opportunity. Well, when we legalize cannabis, do we get any of those? None of them. None of them. Now we have our Office of Cannabis Management, which I said we do not need. That is insanely stupid. If I'm the governor, I would completely get rid of that. That's gone. That's insanely dumb. Well, Larry, we got to regulate it. Why? Cannabis has been in the black market in America for over 100 years, right? And before it was just used, no one even cared. But it's officially been like illegal for like 100 years, give or take. Where are all the deaths from cannabis? No deaths. There's no deaths from cannabis. But now that it's legal, we got to regulate it. Why? It's a plant. What's wrong with you? Stop. Let people grow it. We don't. I told you that they will use this to ensure that big business wins and that little business and little guys get crushed. That is what I told you 2 years ago. No, it's great, Dave. We're going to regulate cannabis. You're wrong, Larry. No. Larry was right. It's already happening now. And now the newest thing you see that's happening now with cannabis is now they're talking about how we're going to regulate it, tax it, how we're going to make sure that we're going to punish people who have illicit cannabis. They've already sent out cease and desist orders to small businesses who are already selling it. Yeah, the government is telling you, stop selling it. Why? You don't have the license yet, which will wind up costing you about $250,000. What little guy can afford that? They can't. Big business can, because they're who's going to win. Who's going to win here is big business, yet again. Permanent capital, private capital is going to come in, buy up everything. sell you weed at a high price. Half you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna spend. I'm gonna go to my buddy. Great. Now the cop's gonna knock the guy down. The cop's gonna arrest that guy, but they're not gonna arrest him up front. See, because they say it's not criminal, it's civil penalties. What does that mean? It means insane fines and fees that no one can afford, which means eventually you go to jail anyway. So you don't go to jail right away. You're not right away. But they give you fines and fees when you can't survive anymore, then you go to jail. That's how that works. So it's not officially criminal, it just becomes criminal 3 months down the road. That's how that works already. You're a guy who's selling weed now. You get busted. They fine you $1,000. You can't afford that. So now you can't afford it. You don't pay. Now it's $2,000. Can't afford that. Now you got to go to court to pay. You can't pay. You're going to jail. Look, if you had a job, you lost it. Now all you can do is sell weed. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to jail. They're going to keep putting brown and black. And these are Democrats who supposedly love young brown and black people, right? And if they tell us all day long, they've been telling us that for years. Yet you keep putting them in jail and ruining their life. I'm going to ask you, how many brown and black people are in permanent capital? There are some, not a lot. I know they're my customers, not a lot. Just some, not a lot. None of them are poor, that I'm sure of. None of them are poor. Not one. Well, we're going to have quota systems to make the right black and brown people, get the license. Great. So now some permanent capital guy will back some token, and then they'll do that and then buy the product off of them and then kick them to the curb and they'll be broke. We've never seen that happen before because tokenism always works, right? Never. Doesn't work. We're still doing it. So now we're going to punish the little guy, the small farmer, the small dealer, just so wealthy people can win. That's already happening in California. I tell you the story before and I'll tell you again. Too expensive in California for weed. So you have farmers in Northern California who just say, we're going to make our own stuff. Well, the legal cannabis growers go, government, look, these farmers, they're making a product cheaper than us. It's not fair. They're going against the law. So California, in its wisdom, was smart and said, oh, great. Why don't we change the tax system and make it fair so that everyone can... No, that didn't happen. Of course not. That would have made sense. The government did what they always do. Oh, let's take our government thugs, go in, take everything, take all of the property, take all of the cannabis, and then pay, taxpayer funded, a vendor to burn it all. Yeah, that will happen in New York State too. I told you what happened 2 years ago. It will happen now. You will see that within a year or two. They're going to start grabbing all the farmers, everyone else, putting the young kids in jail again, and then burning and paying your taxpayer dollars, paying for that. What's going to wind up happening is the Office of Cannabis Management is not going to be able to afford its own salaries. Because that also always happens. They're going to grow too big to where they can't afford the money that comes in from the tax revenue because they're going to put it someplace else. So how are they going to raise money? As they always do. They're going to use law enforcement as a profit center. And there's going to be a cannabis cops. And they're going to come by and they're going to find people. And they're not going to find the big business guys because they all know what's going on. They're going to find little guys left and right. They're going to raise money through beating up the little guy. I'm tired of being right. I'm tired of being right. And I would ask you, is there any other governor candidate that will tell you this to your face? That will say and has said it for years. Now, if you don't like legalizing cannabis, I get it. I think you're wrong, but I understand it. You think it's bad, it's evil, whatever. Okay, I get it. Even you can't like this. Right? Either legalize it or don't. Legalize it. But if you're not, then just, why are the rich people making money and the poor? In this system, only the poor are screwed. In the old system, everybody's screwed or nobody's screwed. I like the nobody screwed part, but at least either one is fair. In this, only the poor get screwed and the rich make money. How does that work? This is embarrassment. The Office of Cannabis Management and the way they're trying to act like they're protecting and they're saving. No, they are helping the powerful yet again. Why does it link with the shootings? Because just letting people have hemp and cannabis and all those things will make a lot of young people happy and will give them purpose. I'm not making this up. What young kid who's 18, 19 years old who is lost is going to find a job at Permanent Capital? They're not. But could they become a weed dealer? Yeah. Right, you don't want weed dealers? Weed dealers or people shooting up shopping malls. I'll take weed dealer. Yeah. They'll learn about business and they'll learn because it'll be official. They'll have to pay taxes. They'll learn about taxes. They'll learn about all these things and they'll be better adults. Yes. They'll be entrepreneurial. That they have their friends help out and their friends will screw them over and won't show up and they'll learn some work ethic. Yeah. Let's do that. How about some small farmer? How about some kid who just likes weed and he gets to work on a farm now? Farmers need workers. Well, this is your thing, right? Go up there and work on a farm. Do marketing for weed, right? Or you can't market on Facebook. Then find whatever the weed book is going to be. There will be one of them. If there isn't already, there might be one already. I don't know the world very well. Maybe there is already a weed book. Then you'll market on that. These are all ways of making people happier and giving people opportunity and purpose. Weed isn't the only answer, obviously, but that's the concept. Why aren't we doing more of that? All of those things to give people purpose, to give people happiness, to let people live their life. If you don't want to smoke weed, don't smoke weed. If you don't want to have a gun, don't buy a gun. It's fine. But who am I as a governor? Who do I think I am to be a governor and stand at some podium and go, let me tell you how I'm going to keep you safe. Let me tell you what's right for you. We're going to pass laws and protect you. Who do I think I am to do that? They all think they're talk to God, I guess, or something. I recognize something very important. I'm just a human being. I mean, I'm a good-looking human being. However, I'm just a human being. That's it. I don't claim to have magical knowledge over all of you. It'd be awesome if I had it, and if I had it, I would tell you. I don't. What I can do is create an environment to where you have the best chance of trying to achieve the happiness that you want. With a gun or without, with weed or without, or both. I don't care, neither. You pick. I don't get to tell you what to do. Every time we try forcing people to do stuff, it always backfires, and we just never learn. It's not like I'm super smart. I just see what's happening. I know human nature, and I tell you what happens every time. And I'm right. Every time. I've got the receipts. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I've been telling you what's going to happen, and it keeps happening again and again and again. It just drives me crazy. Let me grab a couple more of these if I can. Thank you so much, guys, for all the comments. I appreciate it. Obviously, of course, please like, comment, share, as I say. Please, excuse me, I'm yelling, screaming, get my cough back. Please check out libertarians.com as I see it all the time. Click that specific link if you would. It does help tremendously. They see that stuff's coming from my my show, so please do that if you would. It helps me out tremendously. It's free. Please do it. If you want to donate, please go ahead and donate. If you want to help me out, if you want to buy a cool shirt like the one I have now, bumper stickers, signs, whatever you want, please head over to LarrySharpe.com/shop. Pick those up. I appreciate it. And always like, comment, and share. All right, let's see if I can do this here. Let's see here. Angela for Liberty says, how do they rationalize? Angelo for Liberty. How do they rationalize shooting guns from people who use medical recreational cannabis? Another thing, how can you do that? Why can't you have both? Absolutely. Why can't you have both? Yes. So Logic says, legacy media bows down to Her Majesty to be my apostles, God, Queen Hochul. Yes, absolutely. She is a Lord and Savior, something like Stockholm Syndrome. They want access to her, so they have to do the right thing, which is terrible, right? You don't get access to her. Like she didn't go to the debates. There were Democratic primary debates. She didn't show up. Why should she? She's winning. She's better than them. No one's attacking her for it. So Jumaane Williams and Tom Swazi, is that right? The two guys who are never going to win. They're going to get out there and they're going to, and not making the changes. They yelled at each other, I guess. I didn't pay attention. And that's it. Yes. That's all it is. So Dave says, Larry, Democratic politicians never lie. And when they do lie, they didn't mean to lie. And when they meant to lie, they did it for our own good. That's what I mean, isn't call them out. That's true. It's always for our own good. Dave, because they care about us. They care tremendously. Absolutely. Yes. They love it. Yeah. Mike Voss says, steal away like the red flag breaking up families. Yes, it does. Spread news far because you can get people to listen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's see here if I can do this. Grab a couple more of these. Let's see here. Liberty Revolution says, what if a cop doesn't want a gun? What's the difference in requiring a cop and teacher having a gun while at work? Well, I see your logic in that. I do. But when you sign up to be a cop, you understand that you're going to be able to and may be required to use deadly or lethal force, and it may be used upon you. We understand this to be a thing. We have to change what it means to be a teacher if we do that. It will be a serious cultural change to do that. And not just that. Using violence and being able to use violence and deal with tough situations is what a cop's job is. A teacher's job shouldn't be that, right? If you want to voluntarily do that, okay, but I feel like it's not the right answer. I feel like we will push away too many possibly good teachers. That makes any sense? So I get your point. I don't think I would agree with it. I think I would rather have it to that level. And if a cop didn't want a gun, I'm not sure I'd fight it, tell you the truth. I don't know why a cop wouldn't, but in theory, if he, I don't know, would he want to only talk? I wouldn't be against that, to be forward with you, the revolution. If some cop said, I'm going to go on the beat and I'm going to solve problems without using a gun, good luck. I don't think I would actually be against that. There'd be probably very few cops who'd want to not have a gun, but if one didn't want to, why would I fight them? Take care of your community. If you can do that with the billy club and your voice, I wish all cops can do that. They somehow figured this out in England, so maybe they could do it. I'm not against it. So I hope that answers your question at least. I know you don't agree, but at least I hope it answers your question at least. Yes. So Morgan says, because Fox News correlated people who smoke weed in mass shootings. I know, yes. God, that's so silly. God, that's so silly. Yes. Red Vapes, an advocate, says they're taking your guns. What could go wrong? Example, Germany. Yes, yes. What could go wrong? Ask, we don't go to Germany. Native Americans. Ask them how that worked for them. Yeah, if you can find any. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Carl says, what are your thoughts on government weed stores? Terrible idea. Terrible idea. There's no need for the government to be running weed stores. None whatsoever. The private sector has been doing just fine. Does not require any government assistance whatsoever. The only government assistance that a weed store owner requires is courts and cops. That's it. Courts and cops to enforce your contracts, and it makes people don't steal your stuff. That's it. Otherwise, weed stores will be just fine. Absolutely. 100%. So, yeah, I got a bunch of them. Regulate it like lettuce, regulate it like onions. Yes, absolutely. 100%. All good issues. Absolutely. Matt says, LA hospital stabbing, 2 injured, so that's killed just now. Is that right? Oh, my God. Terrible. Well, we need to, I don't know, put the micro stuff on the knives, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Just, it's terrible. Yes. Running Bear says, those lockdowns made 0 sense in the first place. The old people that were at risk were already retired and sitting at home. How does shutting down jobs, swinging people prevent anything? It does not, and that was my entire point. Yes. Nothing but bad. Nothing but bad. Absolutely. So, yes. Chip says, weed hasn't been my thing. What I'd like to see is people turn their lawns into hemp patches and form co-ops. Yes. Oh, my God. And this is a piece, for those of you who are more left-leaning and who like and know the left is often talking about things like the workers' right to own the means of production. I agree. I think workers should be able to create co-ops much easier than they do now. It's not very easy. That's supported by many banking institutions. If you think a co-op is good for you, and sometimes they work, particularly in farms and things of that sort, they often work. Good. Go do you. Why in the world can't New York State support co-ops like any other business? We don't, but we should. I'm in, Chip. Start your co-op. Your friends can start your co-op. Go ahead. It's voluntary. Do your business the way you think is the right way. If you fail, I'll help you if we can to have a second chance. If you succeed, life is good. Hire some more people. Let everybody own a piece of your business, man, if that makes you happy. Yes, yes, and yes. I would love people to create hemp co-ops. I hope we create thousands of them. That'd be great. Whatever makes people happy in their own communities, I am in. Yes. Odyssey says, rich people making a system based on race so they can decide who deserves a chance. Yes. Instead of letting people make something out of themselves. System is set up to fight racism, but is inertly racist. Yes. Odyssey, you're correct. We don't require that. If you want to make it easier, right? You just make it something like, excuse me, if there should not be a thing called a cannabis license. It should not exist. There's no need for it. You don't need a license to be a farmer. I can put onions in my backyard if I want to, right? No need. Here's the difference. If you want to help out people who've been hurt by the drug war, there are very simple ways you can do it. Number one, if you hire someone who is a convict, who's been convicted of a drug offense, very simple, no payroll tax for 2 years. Done deal. People will by default begin to hire people like that. It will make sense to do so. It will make sense to do so. Yes. There's also other issues in New York State. For example, if you hire a felon and they do something wrong, there's more liability for a company. That needs to go away immediately. Go away immediately. No more liability for a company. Let a company make a decision on giving someone a second chance. However they make it, it should be the same liability as anyone else. No difference. Here's what most people don't understand. This is a magic number. How do you get people who've been through the system to no longer go back through the system again? It's a magic number. 5. Once a felon has had 5 years of work, the odds of them going back in the system are lower than someone who's never been in the system. That's data, guys. 5 years of work. If you get someone who's been in the system and they come out and they can work for 5 years, the odds of them going back into the system are lower than anyone who hasn't been in the system. Work is the key. So incentivize people to hire them. It is literally that simple. And we don't do that. In fact, we give them reasons to not hire them. We make things worse and harder. We make parole harder, right? Our parole officers have a terrible job. By the way, parole officers are also part of law enforcement. They have a terrible job. It's a very difficult job. We should make that easier and let them easier to let people get back out in action again. Parole officers shouldn't just be people who are putting people away. They should be people who are helping people get a second chance. We've screwed that up too. So anyway, I've yapped away. I apologize. So yes. All right. Matt says, Scott Henry, I collect custom stickers. They come with free weed. Yes, that's another thing. But that's the new law, by the way. I didn't tell you that. Thank you, Matt, for bringing this up. The new law now they're going to come out with the Office of Cannabis Management is now if you give weed as a gift, it is considered a sale. Yes, that's not going to shut that down. For those who don't know, they have things called sticker stores. And what it is you go and you buy a sticker. And a free gift from a sticker is weed. So that sticker comes with this gift weed. But I'm not selling weed. I'm selling stickers. So how much does that sticker cost? $100. That's an expensive sticker. Yeah, but it comes with this weed. Oh, okay. I'll buy that $100 sticker to get that weed as a gift. That's how it works here, right? Because you can't sell the weed yet. So instead, they decided, no. Now, with the new law, if you give weed, that is considered a sale. Why? So we can punish you and put you in jail. Yes, we're getting around that too. So you can't even give weed away anymore. If you give weed away, now that's a sale. I don't know how that's legal, but now that's legal because permanent capital wants it's bought its government. It wants its government to do what it's supposed to do. And it will. There we go. So my body, my choice, I thought, when they decide, Joey, when they decide, right? Not always, when they decide. Absolutely. Matthew says, right, Democrats don't want to legalize weed for the average person. They would just want to make their cronies rich. 100% correct. He goes on to say, or richer. Yes, this is what I've been saying forever. There is no need for any of this. It drives me crazy. There is no need whatsoever for this. It only makes things worse. It just makes things worse. That's what drives me crazy. So, yes. Let's see if I can get this. Brent says, Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom, directed by Michael W. Dean with Susan Calloway, Deborah Jean Dean, Michael W. Dean. I guess you're trying to, someone should watch that. Okay, great. I guess they should watch that. There we go. Good. So Shelley says, people are asking about why people should be in prison for planting seeds. This reminds me that our government made seed saving a crime. Oh, that's right. And line in the pockets of Monsanto, who deserves our food supply. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Exactly right. Matt says New York punishing philanthropy since 2022. That's awesome. I love that. I love that. That's great. So I hope we understand that this can be very challenging, right? I'm trying my best to not be so upset. And then sometimes I am very upset because I'm tired of being right. And I feel sometimes like people simply aren't listening and no one hears me. I feel sometimes like I'm screaming into the void. And I just keep seeing things bad happen. And I sometimes feel like I have no way of fixing them, even though I'm giving people the answers and they just don't want to hear them. So I don't know. I don't know. Michael Voss says a cop having a gun doesn't equal using a gun. Also true. Like 99.994% of lawful gun owners, literally. Okay. I believe Mike. If Michael says that, he did his homework. So yes, the only issues are the criminal and the deranged, and gun control doesn't affect them. Agreed. And to be forward, if you're a cop, do your job as you see fit. If you're doing it right, that's awesome. I literally wouldn't be upset if some cop decided, hey, I don't want to use a gun, I want to do it other ways. All right, maybe they've got a plan, right? Look, the reality of it is, if there is a better way, I'm not going to find out the better way by forcing people to do things my way. Maybe there's a better way of doing it. I'm okay, whatever the case may be. So yes, Tim says, I understand, Larry Sharpe, I understand. I know. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Carl Du says, if you oppose government regulation of weed, you agree with the weed industry getting together to set up standards for weed. Why would I oppose that kind of thing, Carl? This is a Bastiat thing. For those of you who know Bastiat, I'm gonna paraphrase. Just because I don't want government to do something doesn't mean I don't want it done, right? I want our kids to be educated. Doesn't mean I want the government to be the only way of making that happen. I want there to be standards in every industry. It doesn't mean it has to be government standards. I don't mind government standards as long as they're just standards, not regulations. They're standards, which means you can opt into them or not. If you don't, you must let the public know you're not opting into them. So, of course, I think that we see that already happening. Right? It's a natural thing. The example I give often is health food stores. Health food stores create standards within their industry. So, of course, that'd be a great idea. I would assume they would do that, Carl. I would assume they would. Absolutely. Guys, as I said before, please like, comment, share. If you want to support the show, libertarianism.com. It does matter. Click that link. Go there. Check out some cool vids. Sign up. It does matter. You want to donate to me running around New York State, my campaign, please, LarrySharpe.com/donate. If you want to purchase some cool merch, Larry Sharpe merch, like this cool shirt like this, LarrySharpe.com/shop. And no matter what, if you're late, if you're early, like and comment and share. It does matter. It's how I get around all the shadow banning. I spread this out on 8 different platforms because I get shadow banned on each one individually. So if I get through 8 of them, enough will get out so that people will actually see this enough times. I'm trying to make change. I hope you see what I'm trying to do. I hope you're behind me. Thank you so much, guys. I know I've been gone for a bit, but the petitioning part's done now. So I can get back and actually doing this, running the campaign again. I will see you all